Welcome to Empower Her Radio, the space for powerhouse women ready to step into their next level of abundance, purpose, and personal freedom. I'm Dr. Corey Winn, a high performance coach, doctor of physical therapy, philanthropist, and business consultant. I help ambitious women align with their highest calling, expand their wealth and impact, and create a life that feels as good as it looks. If you're a high achieving woman who's built success yet finds yourself craving more alignment, more purpose, more ease, you're in the right place. Here, we bridge the gap between ambition and fulfillment. Through transformative conversations and proven strategies, you'll gain the courage to step into the fullest expression of you. Build a powerhouse business that aligns with your expertise and divine gifts, and lead your life, both personally and professionally, with unshakable confidence, worthiness, and compassion. This is about expansion, legacy, and owning your power unapologetically. You already have everything inside of you to create a life of unlimited possibility. It's time to unlock it. Welcome to your next level. Let's dive in. I am so excited today to bring you something a little different in this solo episode. So check it out and enjoy. I am so excited to share with you a mindset shift that, if you allow it, it will change your life. I'm Dr. Corey Winn, a She Sells and Superhuman Selling Consultant, and I want to invite you into a radically different way of thinking, of creating success. The 4 quadrants of quantum sales growth created by Elise Archer, founder of She Sells and the Superhuman Selling Movements. This training isn't about strategy and method and doing more. It's about becoming someone completely different than who you are right now. Learning to embody these principles has completely transformed how I operate, how I lead, and how I receive money, success, help. Remember, quantum leaps aren't born from doing what's reasonable, logical, or ordinary. None of us want to live ordinary lives. They're born from embodiment, from trust, from inner knowing, from identity shifting decisions. I know this because I spent years doing all the right things, checking all the boxes, following the path, and towing the line of what everyone else expected of me. Grinding, pushing, staying up late to squeeze in that one more task, or taking on that one more patient, or figuring out that one more strategy. But what I didn't realize back then was this: you can't create an extraordinary life from an exhausted version of yourself. The embodiment of these principles begins with learning to trust yourself, something that I didn't even realize I no longer knew how to do. You have to learn to tune out the noise, to make a decision, every decision, from a place of inner knowing, knowing that you are here on purpose, for a purpose, given a divine design from source, God, universe, use your language, that already lives within you. So let's walk through the 4 quadrants, not from just theory or wondering about what's next, but from embodiment, from the woman you're becoming, rooted in neuroscience and your subconscious. Quadrant number 1 is mind over matter. Now let's reframe what this actually means. This isn't about white knuckling your way to results. It's not about pushing through. It's not about hustling harder just to check a box. It's embodying the woman who already has what you say you want. Many of us heard mind over matter as hustling and grinding and persevering and pushing forward. That's not at all what we're about here at She Sells and Superhuman Selling. We're about shifting your mindset, rewiring limiting beliefs, and becoming the woman who you've always meant to be. It's learning how she thinks, how she feels when she wakes up in the morning, what she does, how she moves throughout the day, what she says yes to, and what she allows herself to let go of. Setting boundaries in your life, prioritizing what is absolutely essential to you in your life, that is what you give up your life for. If you have a spouse, if you have kiddos, if you have pets, if you have things that you love, prioritizing those first and foremost in this one and only life, when that's all you have, that's what we're about here. And no longer tolerating anyone, anything, or any task in our life that is not moving the needle forward into the woman that we are becoming. How many of you have heard throughout your life, just work a little harder? Or I'm so proud of all you've done. Have you ever praised yourself or had other people praise you for your lack of sleep, wearing that 4 hours like a badge of honor and being able to grind it out when you're completely exhausted? How many of you are like I was, still doing tasks that don't move the needle forward in the name of grit or perseverance, or because that's what leadership told you to do? Or maybe just because it's what you've always done and what you know. There's no judgment here. We've all been there. We wouldn't be sitting in this room if we hadn't been. Now we're looking for something else. And I'm so honored to be here to bring that something else to you. This training is your wake-up call, if you allow it to be. Everything that you've been living in, everything that you know up until this point, that's not mind over matter. That's survival mode. The real mind over matter is rewiring limiting beliefs, embodying the woman who has everything accomplished that you desire to have accomplished, creating power affirmations and having gratitude each and every day as if all of those things have come to fruition, and living from the frequency and the vibration of the result before it shows up. Because when you become her, the how shows itself. The results are inevitable, but it takes you stepping out of your comfort zone, stepping into someone different. This is not doing more of the same. This is getting wildly uncomfortable and doing things that you've never done before, not to check a box, but to grow in who you are and who you are becoming. Mind over matter is about changing your subconscious programming from a neuroscience standpoint. So much of what we learn and we just take in as truth happens before we're 7 years old. Learning to question every belief that you've ever had about anything is the first step going in that direction. Being able to ask yourself, is this true for me? Or is this universally true for everyone? There's no doubt that you've faced struggles or challenges or difficulties in your life, or you've had roadblocks, you've struggled with money, you've not gotten the promotion. There's no doubt there. But you have to first remember that your desires are green lights. And if you can look around and see even one person who is living the life that you want to live, then it's possible for you too. You know, when I was first working with Elise, I remember telling her that so much of my life I had heard, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And she looked at me and she said, And how is that belief system serving you? And I said, well, it's not. We, if you're at all like me, have been programmed that if it's easy or illogical or not reasonable, that it's not possible or that it's scary and you shouldn't go in that direction. When I realized that I had been looking for permission and validation from everyone else in my life, all of my life, that I was the only one who could give me permission to step into that woman who I always wanted to be, my life changed, my priorities changed, all of it absolutely drastically to the point where some people were thinking, what is she doing? And I've heard this many times, but it really, really hit once I started embodying this work. Don't take criticism or advice from anyone you do not want to change lives with. And I think back about all that my parents taught me about working hard and grinding and just doing the next thing, or their ideas around money, or societal ideas around who I was supposed to be and how I was supposed to act. And the moment that I stepped back and asked myself truly, do you want that person's life? No? Then don't take their advice. There are many, many people in my life, in my sphere, who I love dearly, but I do not take their advice. And this is me giving you permission today to give yourself permission to create boundaries, to dream again, to listen to those deep desires and learn to recognize your worth. And also ask yourself, what is it going to cost me if I stay here? What is it going to cost my family if I allow myself to stay stuck? What would my children think? Now, I'll be the first one to tell you to not take critique or advice from anyone you don't want to trade lives with. And there's also something incredibly powerful when you have your children or someone who you know looks up to you and say, wow, I'm so proud of you. Modeling the embodiment of the woman who I'm becoming for my daughter helps her recognize that what she wants is valid. Her desires are important, and it is absolutely necessary for her to go for them. Now, right now, she's 9, so she wants every stuffed animal there could possibly be in the world. And that's her absolute most important thing. Everywhere we go, every space we go to, I want this stuffy, mommy. Awesome. How are you going to get it? So I ask that to you. What do you love? What do you desire? What do you want? What's the next decision that you can make? What would the woman who has that be doing right now? Now, this next quadrant is one that I absolutely love, but have also had a love-hate relationship with for most of my life. Quadrant 2 revolves around money. Now, money isn't math. It's not what you live and die making your decisions on. Money is energy, money is flow, and you have a relationship with it, whether you're conscious of it or not. Now, if you're like me, you probably heard some of these things growing up. Did you hear that rich people are greedy? Luxurious things are a waste of money? Maybe you heard money doesn't grow on trees. Did whatever you want cost too much? Or did you feel ashamed when you bought something that you absolutely loved that maybe somebody else in your family or your friends or your colleagues thought was trivial? Or did somebody ever tell you that you wasted your money on something? What if we just changed the dialogue around money? What if you were flowing money to a restaurant that you and your husband absolutely love to go out to and you enjoy the time you spend together? What if you circulate money in a way that allows you to buy your dream car or buy a new house? That was us, finding our dream home and building it and being able to finally settle down after almost 12 years of marriage and 8 moves. Money is energy. Money allows you to do things. Money opens doors for you. And when you think about it that way, how does it make you feel? What emotions come along with flowing money, circulating money? You know, if you think about the tides, the flow of the water, the circulation of blood in your body, it doesn't ever stop. It keeps going. It goes in and out, it goes around. There's no beginning or end. And being able to step back and live in a space of flowing money out for things that you want and desire, and having the knowing, the inner knowing that that money and more is going to flow back into your life. You know, I lived in a space of significant money scarcity mindset. I didn't grow up poor. I had, for all intents and purposes, lots of opportunities growing up. My father worked for one of the major airlines and we got to travel all over. And in the same house, I watched my mom every Saturday morning cut as many coupons as she could possibly cut, find a sale on everything that we needed. And I will never forget how many times we would go to that department store to buy something fun and the coupon didn't work or it didn't cover what she was hoping it would cover. And she would get so frustrated and angry with the cashier. And I remember waiting behind and apologizing to the poor cashier who had no control over whether the coupon worked or not. And what I now know as a parent, being able to reflect back and be aware of the severe scarcity mindset around money that I grew up in, there was such a fear that if that money went out, how are we going to pay for the next thing? Was there going to be enough money to come back? Wait, that money was for emergencies, not for a new pair of shoes. Does that resonate with you? It wasn't until I really started diving deep in these programs and these quadrants and this training that I recognized how much of that scarcity mindset around money I brought with me into my life, into my adult life. That fear that if I spent this here, it wouldn't be over here for the next thing. And I hope that you hear my heart today. This isn't about judgment. This isn't about shame. This isn't to make you feel guilty about debt or how you've managed money in the past. This is about awareness. We cannot first take a step in the right direction to move the needle forward and learn something new if we aren't aware that we need to learn something new in the first place. Now, I want you to start with this realization. You will never earn the money you desire or achieve the level of success that you desire without first becoming the woman who feels worthy of that level of wealth. This requires a few different things. You must rewrite your money story. You have to heal shame around receiving and asking for help and allowing money and opportunities to flow into your life. You are worthy of those things. And finally, creating a wealth consciousness mindset. And the top 3 books that I have really read over and over and over and over again: Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and You're a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. The same principles are given throughout all of these books, but sometimes it requires that you hear it a different way. And every time I listen to or read The Science of Getting Rich, I hear something else. But the overarching principle here is having an inner knowing and inner trusting that your desires are green lights and there is nothing else. If you have a level of success that you are wanting to achieve, there is nothing else. There is no doubt. There's no negative self-talk. You are aligning yourself with that goal in mind, and that is all that you are doing. And specifically when it comes to money, learning to align yourself with the vibration of the woman who has that flowing easily into her life. That comes with feeling what it feels like to be bringing in that amount of money. Now, I have next to me here a vision board that culminates success and flow of money and opportunities, who I want to be, what I want to have, and what I want to do. Those things come into my life by first feeling grateful that they're already here and knowing that I'm worthy of all of that coming into my life. And that first doesn't come with saying, oh, I'll do that, or I'll feel abundant when I get there. You are abundance. Let me say that again. You are abundance. When you embody that, when you are safe with that, when you recognize that clients, money, none of that is source. When you are able to no longer equate money with security or a job with security and recognize that you in yourself are abundant, you are safe, you are secure right in this moment. That's the first step of flowing money into your life, of flowing success into your life. When you recognize, I am abundance, the rest begins to follow. When it comes to wealth consciousness, I've mentioned before that your desires are green lights, and having an inner knowing of truth comes with emotions of joy and excitement and gratitude. Your body is going to tell you what is truth and what is aligned, and your body will also tell you what's a lie. If you have a thought that makes you feel guilty or ashamed, fearful, depressed, angry, or anxious, your body is telling you that is a lie. So being able to take time to sit down and say, what do I like? What do I want? And then taking aligned action as the woman who has those things allows money and opportunity to flow into your life. So if you can start sitting with your feelings each day and embodying those feelings as you feel gratitude for that dream vacation that you just took, or that car that you have, everything on your dream board as if it has already happened today and you are so thankful for it. That's the first step. Elise talks about personal truths versus universal truths. And so much of that is shown in people's money stories. I have no doubt that you have faced challenges in your life. You have found it hard to make money. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. There were times, I'm sure, that you were passed up by a promotion, or it was hard to find a job, or you found yourself in a challenging situation. Those are personal truths. But if you look around and you see even one person who has the level of success, has the level of wealth, has the car, the house, the thing, whatever it is, has the job, has the education, they're not thinking, oh, this was challenging. If you think about Oprah or Warren Buffett or Bill and Melinda Gates, they wouldn't tell you that it's hard to bring in money. So it doesn't have to be for you either. Now, this third quadrant was one that, I will be perfectly honest, I did not even know existed. Masculine and feminine energy. I lived my entire life, maybe until the last year and a half, completely in masculine energy. Now, do you wonder what that is? Or some of you may already know. Masculine energy is the doing, the fixing, the problem solving, the linear, the reasonable, the logical, the how. But I want you to lean in close and listen here. You will never quantum leap from the masculine. Let me say that again. You will never quantum leap from the masculine. Quantum leaps don't come from spreadsheets or checklists or to-do lists. They come from trust. They come from divine downloads. They come from living out your desires. They come from leaning into your feminine, your flow state, following your intuition, following your divine downloads, and no longer worrying about or being concerned with the how. It's making a decision and recognizing that it's okay that you have no idea how it will be possible. And then you do it, and the pieces fall into place. Now, a year ago, a little bit more, I reached back out to Elise. We connected. My first question about investing in myself was, what if this doesn't work? I decided to invest in myself. At the time, I was hoping to save a failing health coaching practice and blend physical therapy in and do all these different things because I desperately wanted to be at home with my daughter. I wanted to create my own schedule. I wanted to live a life of purpose and have a mission and go big. And I wanted the luxury and the travel and all the things. And I was scared. I had been doing the same thing over and over and over again for years and wondering why I was stuck and had no possible idea how to get beyond that. In a year after I made the decision to invest in myself, I let go of my health coaching practice. I found a new PT job that I absolutely love, where I'm working with patients with wheelchair evaluations only. Found a beautiful lot, found our dream home, built our dream home, launched a podcast, launched my own coaching and consulting practice. And in December, I launched a nonprofit. That is feminine energy. That is flow. There is no way I could have looked back and known the how of all of these things fitting together and what would happen to help them come to fruition. But I made the decision to invest in myself and followed the steps that came after that. That is flow. That is learning to trust yourself, that you have a desire and going for it. So, when was the last time you gave yourself space to just be, to rest, reflect? Have you ever noticed that the best ideas come while you're driving, while you're in the shower, or while you're sitting in the quiet with your coffee in the morning? It's because your mind isn't distracted. This isn't random. This is your divine design trying to speak to you. Your intuition that, if you're at all like me, you've forgotten for years and years, or maybe never knew you had in the first place. Now, if you think about masculine and feminine energy, this is not to say that you never need masculine. When you think about this cup of water, the masculine is the glass, the feminine is the water. If you didn't have the cup to hold the water in, it would pour out all over my desk and ruin my computer. But if you didn't have the water, it would be empty and you would be thirsty. We need both. So, what I want you to do over the next 15 minutes after this call, over the next few days, take time to journal, take time to meditate, create a vision board when you sit down and really think about all the things that you want and desire in your life, whether it's for you, whether it's for other people, whatever it is that you want, it is important and it is a green light. Feel into the woman who has those things and make decisions from her. Make decisions from the end. What would she be doing? How would she be acting? Who would she be connecting with? How visible would she be? Now, aligned action is not just busy action. Aligned action is making decisions and doing things based on divine downloads, based on trusting your intuition and having the inner knowing that this is the way that I am supposed to go. Focusing on self-care is an absolute priority. If you are not the best version of yourself, you are in no way capable of showing up as the best version for anyone else. Being able to be in flow and feminine energy also requires you to heal around receiving. So many of us have either grown up where receiving was unsafe or was shameful, or to receive what you needed, you had to be extra funny or extra good, or maybe you had to be the little girl who was seen and not heard. Being able to receive help, have a team, delegate when you need to so that your expertise can continue to follow those divine downloads, that is where you need to be. Because your greatness is not going to be built from burnout and stress and grinding and pushing and hustling harder. It's going to be built on your belief in yourself, of your self-worth and your self-concept. Now, when you think about masculine and feminine energy and wondering about the next action, so many of us are often stuck in the how. And the how is the method. But before I get to that point, I really want to stop for just a second and let you know that 95 to 98% of your success, of your level of wealth, of your everything that you bring into your life is built on the first three quadrants. mind over matter, money, masculine and feminine energy, and balancing the two. Only 2 to 5% of what you're doing or the strategy that you're following accounts for your level of wealth or success. When I heard Elise talk about this for the first time, I was shocked. But I was also relieved because I had been doing and hustling and grinding for years and years and years and wondering why I wasn't reaching the level of success that I desired, why things, doors weren't opening the way that I wanted them to. I want you to hear me on this. It's not about what you're doing. It's not about the how. Now, the systems, the strategies, the logistics, those are important. Hence the cup. You need systems in place. It does matter. But here's the part that so many people miss. You already know what to do. And when I heard that the first time, I was like, no, I don't. That's why I'm here. That's why I invested in myself in coaching. I need you to tell me what to do. I need a new strategy. No. And Elise told me, well, I I asked for some coaching one day, and I was just, you could feel the energy. I was just super high strung, very anxious, and she very lovingly looked at me and she said, I'm going to need you to calm down. And just sat there and waited. And I thought, my first instinct way back then was like, if I knew how to calm down, I would have calmed down. But hear me out. The worry, the anxiety, the fear, all of those feelings are your subconscious telling you that whatever you just thought was a lie. This entire journey over the last year, little over a year, has been relearning how to trust myself and recognizing I am safe in this moment. Everything else, your level of self-worth, your self-concept, everything branches from there. So you're not stuck because you're not willing to work hard or you're lazy or you don't know how to hustle and grind. It's not about that. You're stuck because the other quadrants aren't aligned with the action that you're doing. When you trust yourself and lean into the woman you're becoming, that's mind over matter. When you heal your relationship with receiving and flowing and circulating money and energy, that's quadrant 2, money. And when you learn to operate from flow, from your feminine energy and follow your intuition, and then take aligned action, that is how you coordinate masculine and feminine energy with method. When you follow your divine downloads and take aligned action, it's easy. Having the belief that all my desires are met and it was easy, that's your first stop. That's your first place to start. You won't need to force it because it will come. Feminine energy, masculine energy, and wealth consciousness and mind over matter all allow you to have the method and the logistics and the strategy flow. I just want to give you a quick example. In December of last year, December 2024, I made the decision to finally launch a nonprofit in honor of my uncle. Now, this is something that I had been discussing and thinking about and really putting on the back burner for years. Long story short, my uncle had a spinal cord injury at 19, was now in his 70s, and had had a really hard time getting what he needed as far as equipment, care, home modifications, because insurance just doesn't cover enough. So I wanted to launch a nonprofit for other patients just like him. I didn't know how. I don't have a background in fundraising or marketing or strategy. Didn't have a clue. But in December, he got sick, and I was at a She Sells event, and I made the decision in that moment. I am doing this. I don't know how, but I'm launching a nonprofit, and I'll figure it out. I don't know how the how. And that was one of my biggest moments of recognizing how truly far I've come and how much I truly embody this work. Now, I'm telling you this because this can be you. I'm not anything special. I don't have any special training or expertise in all these different areas, but I made a decision, and the people and the places and the doors opened to allow that to come to fruition. Now, about a week and a half after I made that decision, my uncle passed away. And I thought, well, I have to do it now. So in January, I registered it with the state, followed the steps that the person at the Secretary of State gave me, registered it with the IRS, got my tax exempt status, everything just boom, 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 boom. And then we were live in February. 2 months, 2 months after I made a decision, having no expertise, no background working with nonprofits. I'd only ever donated to nonprofits. I had never been on the board of one. I'm telling you this because you don't have to know the how. And if there's one thing that you can really take away from today is learning to trust your intuition and being okay not knowing how it's going to happen. Now, the first quarter of the year is over today, and I've raised $12,000 for my nonprofit. Again, the end of last year, no idea how any of this was going to happen. That's following feminine energy and then taking aligned action based on the next thing that you need to do. So let me recap just a little bit. Your quantum leap isn't about doing more, pushing harder, or hustling. It's becoming more of who you already are. You are a woman of purpose, a woman of power. You're a woman designed for overflow. But what's the next level you're chasing? She's not waiting with a checklist. She's not waiting for you on a to-do list or a spreadsheet. She's waiting for your identity to shift. So pause today, ask yourself, where do I need to trust myself more? Where can I trust myself more? Looking back on these 4 quadrants, what have you been avoiding? Or like me, didn't even know existed? Who's the woman you're becoming? And how can you show up as her? What would she be doing each day? How would she be thinking? What would she be acting like? You have one life. Now, Bronnie Ware was a hospice worker, and she wrote The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. And this is a book that Elise shares with us all the time. The top of the 5 regrets, the number one regret of people lying on their deathbed was not having the courage to live the life that they wanted, and instead they lived the life that everyone else expected of them. This is the all you have. And I'm so thankful every day that I invested in myself and I took the steps to embody this work so that my daughter can look at me every day and go, wow, I'm going to do that. And I don't mean launch a nonprofit or be a physical therapist or be a consultant and coach. I mean, I followed what I wanted, and I want that for her. Now at 9 years old, she wants every stuffy in every store that we go into. And I've just started looking at her and saying, okay, you figure it out. You want it? Go for it. Figure it out. Now, follow your divine design, follow your inner knowing, and take this training and let it change your life. Now, let's help you step into the fullest expression of yourself and stop working harder and grinding and hustling and stepping in to the woman who is meant for so much more. Check out the show notes for the full training, and I can't wait to hop on a call with you and see how else I can assist. As we close out today's episode, I want to leave you with this. Your next level is already within you. If you're feeling that pull for more clarity, more alignment, and more courage to step fully into who you're meant to be, this is your invitation to take the next step. Whether you're an entrepreneur ready to scale or a woman standing at the edge of something bigger, the path forward starts with trusting your desires, owning your worth, and leading with your inner knowing. This is exactly what I offer. Private VIP coaching, and where I guide women inside the 10K Club and 50K Club through consulting with She Sells and Superhuman Selling to help you gain clarity, step into aligned action, and build a life and business that reflects your highest vision. If you're ready to explore what's next, let's have a conversation. Book a free call now at www.corywinn.com/free call. I can't wait to connect with you. Talk soon.